This is May's first time speaking at our club. This is her icebreaker. And she'll be also speaking from Pathways Leadership Development Level 1. And her title is At the Starting Point of Speaking. At the starting point of speaking, May.
Master, distinguished Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters and honorable guest. Today I'm giving my first speech, The Icebreaker. The title I choose is At the Starting Point of Speaking. Of course, it's nervous. I would like to introduce myself and talk about briefly about what led me to the Toastmaster Club. I work as a research scientist, but I don't, at a local university, I do not teach. I conduct research and write about my research. So I do not have a lot of, fortunately, do not have a lot of opportunities to do public speaking, but occasionally I do have some requirements I need to fulfill. Personally, I live with my husband and my 2 daughters in Central Maryland. I grew up in China and I came to this country to pursue my graduate degree at toward the end of last century. So I've been in this country for very long. And English is my second language. I think my widest idea would be that if I give a speech in English, I could give the same speech in Chinese as well. But I think that remains just an idea for me. Recently, I often joke with my friend that we are kind of becoming illiterate in both languages, since we don't use them very frequently, either of them. So public speaking is one of my greatest fear. I think I'm an introvert, and I got very nervous, even just before I asked a question in a meeting. So I even have an inspiration note for myself to think about, I don't need to speak. If I translate that to English, it would be, the earth is magnificently beautiful, but it does not talk. It is from old literature by Zhuangzi, an early Chinese philosopher. I don't think I understand his work specifically, but I just interpret it to myself as that I do not need to speak. I just need to do things, and if I do it, the action will show its own value. So I put speaking and doing things at the 2 ends of a pole. So that idea actually persists in me for quite a while. And however, recently I realized that lacking of effective communication skill and presentation skill greatly hindered my personal and my professional lives. Unable to express myself very clearly at work or at home actually raised my anxiety. I think I decided I need to tackle this problem. And I hope that eventually it will lead to more constructive and happier conversation, more frequent conversation among my family members, and also help me to establish collaborations more easily at work. And on another hand, I also think speaking is such an important component during the English learning. Maybe it sounds really bizarre to you, but I just realized very recently. I have been learning English almost the same way as I learn and use Chinese. But English is a sound language, but Chinese is a image language. I learn English words. I look at the words. I look at the appearance of the words. I don't pay much attention to the pronunciation and the sound. I don't repeat the sound in my mind. So when I look at some very similar words, I could mistake them. I have an embarrassing story I would like to share with you. That my family used to go to the National Zoo very often. About 10 years ago, there were two giraffes. That's my daughter loves a lot. And but however, when after my second daughter was born, the giraffes were just gone. We heard the giraffes were very sick, moved to another zoo or died. So we were sad about that. But nevertheless, we still went to visit the zoo again. One day, we went to the zoo and we visited the Amazonia exhibit. It's an indoor space, has a lot of visitors. And on the wall of that room, of that big room, I saw no giraffes. I was very confused. And also the giraffes touched my nerves. So I read it out aloud, no giraffes. And a person just passing me. And she turned her head around and looked at me, very surprisingly. I know something must be wrong. And then my husband told me, no, it's not giraffe. It's no graffiti. I said, okay, no graffiti. Not only I'm not very familiar with that word, but also in the zoo, I suppose my mind is wired up with just giraffes. So I think I switched up the similar words too often just by looking at the appearance of the word. I realize this problem, I know this problem, but I realize that maybe it's deeply in the learning habit of me, just because my background in learning just by looking at the word, not to actually register the sound, the pronunciation of the word, the spelling of the word with the sound in my mind deeply. And recently I also took a online class offered by my employer. The class is Perfect Your Pronunciation. After I take the course, I feel not very satisfied because it kind of...
Time is up.
Oh, I didn't get a reminder. Okay, sorry. Okay, so my approach would be to be here often, and I would like to, very excited, I would like to thank you in advance for your encouragement and evaluation. I'm glad to be here in SCOP because we only compete with ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, May.